chamber. Knowledge is supreme strength. So I realized something today. Before probably maybe 4 5 years ago, our byline was "Heaven be our guide." Jnanam Paramam Balam is actually got added only about 5 years ago during the tenure of President Hitesh Shah, and I shared a message with him just a little while ago. So we are now in the 95th year of our existence. In 95 years, for almost 90 years, we've been living with a logo which said "Heaven be our guide." I'm reminded of one small anecdote I want to share with you. One businessman, Indian businessman, poor fellow, he was a very good negotiator, but he died, and he went to obviously he had to go either to heaven or hell. So he went up. So Saint Peter's is the gatekeeper at heaven. So he has the key whether to let you into heaven or not. So our friend went there, and so Saint Peter said, "My dear, it's like this that you can either go to heaven or you can go to hell. I will give you a ticket to either, and you have to choose. So if you choose this, you can't choose that." So he says, "Okay, give me a what do you call that walkthrough." So Saint Peter's gave him a walkthrough about heaven being a beautiful place with a lot of greenery, like कश्मीर की वादी है वैसा है, झरने बहते हैं और आसमान इतना नीला है, लोग बहुत अच्छे हैं, मीठा बर्ताव है उनका, खाना बहुत बढ़िया है. So many things, all the niceties about heaven, Saint Peter's told him. So our friend got very attracted. He says, "Okay, give me a ticket to heaven." He says, "If you take it now, you can't get the other ticket." So he said, "All right." He took the ticket. And then just as he was going, he thought, "I'll ask a question. Is it हेल में क्या है, मतलब ये सब इधर तो हेल में क्या है?" बोलता हेल में ठीक है, वादियां वैसी नहीं है, कश्मीर की वादियां नहीं है, लेकिन यू गेट डिस्को, यू गेट डिस्को लाइट्स एंड थिंग्स लाइक दैट, एंड यू विल हैव पीपल लाइक मल्लिका शेरावत और कैटरीना कैफ डांसिंग, liquor will be flowing the way you want, as much as you want. So now our friend got tempted. He says, "Ticket change हो सकता है क्या?" So this is what happens to most of us when we are tempted, even between good and bad. This is how we jump. So coming back to our subject for today, Jnanam Paramam Balam. Let us understand that every institution, every organization, even countries, there is a slogan or there is a byline or a tagline, something on which the institution evolves by itself. So, for example, many of us are chartered accountants in the chamber. So, in the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, we have a logo. We have the eagle. Many of us would have seen the eagle. Not many would have paid notice to what is written under the eagle. It says, "Ya esha supteshu jagarti." What this really means is the one who's awake while asleep. That's what it means. So it's a paradox, isn't it? How can somebody be awake when he's asleep? So somebody went to a great Mahatma and asked the Mahatma, says, "Who's a realized person?" So the Mahatma said, "The realized person is one who's awake when the entire world is sleeping." ये सोचा इसका मतलब क्या है, मेरी बिल्डिंग का वॉचमैन रियलाइज पर्सन, मैं सोता हूं तभी वही तो जागते रहो बोलता है, वो रियलाइज पर्सन हो गया. दैट इज नॉट व्हाट इट रियली मीन्स. We are all alive to our false notions, our false values, our false living. We are all alive to that. The moment you sleep to that and then you become awake to reality, that is when you are called a realized person. So this is our Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. On the other side of the spectrum, we have our advocates who are also members of the chamber. So let us look at what our Supreme Court says. The Supreme Court says, "Yato dharmas tato jaya." Wherever there is dharma, there is victory. This is the slogan of the Supreme Court. So our legal professionals who are also part of our members, this is what they live in. But this is not what it was in Supreme Court a few years ago. Few years ago, they changed it from Satyameva Jayate. Satyameva Jayate is also a part of our Ashoka symbol. It is our national slogan given by Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya. So from there, Supreme Court changed. What is dharma? Dharma, we all seem to think that dharma means that which is righteousness. Righteousness is dharma. But actually, that is not what it is. Dharma is that without which a thing is not the thing which we understand it to be. That is dharma. For example, if you remove sweetness out of sugar, it is no longer sugar. If you remove heat out of fire, it is no longer fire. So the dharma of sugar is sweetness, the dharma of fire is heat. So that without which that thing does not remain what it is dharma. And Supreme Court changed it from Satyameva Jayate. It says victory is not for Satya, not for truth. Victory is for dharma. Matter for another day to discuss. Bandish mentioned to you that I was associated as the first principal director and registrar of Chinmaya University. When we formed that university, Swami Tejamananda, who's our Guruji, he gave us the byline, Vidyaya Sanskritihi. What really this means is, from education, culture will flourish. In a nutshell, this is what it means. So we are talking about our university being that for upholding Indian knowledge traditions through graduates in various fields of modern education. So the culture of India is preserved through the knowledge that we are giving. So we come to our chamber's motto, byline, as you say, it is Jnanam Paramam Balam. Knowledge is supreme strength. So we are talking about three different matrices in which we are discussing. We are discussing Jnanam. We'll have to see Jnanam itself. I will be taking it into two limbs, and Balam, which is strength, supreme strength. So this session will go like this. I will be taking up some slides and I will be talking about it. I split it into three lots. In about 20-22 minutes or so, there will be a break, ask time, really speaking. So you can ask questions, whatever comes to your mind from what I am saying. You can ask questions. You can send that as a QA, which will be collated by the organizing team and probably passed on to me, or what I can watch it myself. Or you can want to, speak up on video, for which you again will have to request the host. They will do that. So there will be two such breaks of 2 minutes where I can probably take up a couple of questions, and then I will go on. At the end, we will open it for a QA for about 10 minutes or so. This is generally the way in which the program will move ahead. So we will go ahead. So we are all in what is called the knowledge profession. Correct? We all understand knowledge is our profession. Our work is knowledge. So what is the kind of knowledge we are discussing? We have two limbs in the profession that we are engaged in. There is a government or a body which is taxing all of us, and that government or that body taxes to earn revenue for whatever is a government program. So that is taxing to earn, government's job. Then there is a taxpayer who earns and then pays tax out of that. So we have another person who is a taxpayer earning to tax. Where do we come in? We are the ones who say learn to untax. Untax is not a word, but really we are the ones who take the mantle of understanding what is the first person's requirement, what is the second person's problem, and we try to do a matchmaking and understand how we can advise the second person that you can minimize the impact of your tax. This is our learning to untax. That's what we are doing. Now, for that, what are we called? We are called tax practitioners. Why are we called tax practitioners? Come on. Some of you who would have probably joined the profession last month, you're also a tax practitioner. Somebody who's been in this profession for 5 decades, he's also a tax practitioner. I mean, what do you mean? You have been practicing. When are you going to become an expert? This is a lifetime spent in practice. When will we become an expert? For becoming an expert in something, what happens? You have to make mistakes. We keep on making mistakes. As you make mistakes, you will learn, you will correct them, and you will become an expert. So, there is a saying which says that never make the same mistake twice, because there are so many mistakes to make. So be ready, make more and more mistakes. So we will move ahead. On one end of the spectrum, we have these two. Now, we have a government which knows only one job, and that job is you tax first and you know later. ये हो रहा है, इसको tax कर डालो. वो हो रहा है, उसको tax कर डालो. This is what the tax legislation business is all about. Just understand that there is a scope for somebody to earn something on which they are not likely to pay tax, tax it. This is what legislation is. So a very great expert made a remark in this. The Union of India has formed the disconcerting habit of legislating first and thinking later. Who said this? I didn't say this. These are the words of our beloved Nani Palkhiwala. He is the one who said it. The Union of India has formed the disconcerting habit of legislating first and thinking later. So this is the spectrum in which we are talking about tax consultants. So the taxpayer, the tax administrator, the tax practitioner, and the tax consultant. Why? Because each of them have got their own peculiar problems, and for that the knowledge which is to come from an expert, it goes to the tax consultant. It reminds me of a definition of a consultant. A consultant is someone who borrows your watch to tell you the time and then keeps your watch. He is a consultant. So welcome to our profession. So we move ahead. There are expert professionals, as I said, there are expert professionals. Why are the expert professionals? Why are we practitioners? Why are the expert professionals? Is it only because of knowledge? We assume that they are knowledgeable. That is why they are experts. But the college in which I went, they also went. The year in which I passed, they also passed. But they are an expert. I am not an expert. Why is it that they became an expert? The knowledge that they gathered is the same as the one I gathered. Probably I did not get a first class. They got a first class. That's a separate thing. But the knowledge is the same. Yet they are experts. Is it because they are the ones who are able to distinguish between the chaff and the rice? Chaff meaning जब चावल को हम भूनते हैं तो चावल में से जो उसका जो बुक्का या जो छिलका निकलता है, that is chaff. Chaff and rice, are they the ones who are able to separate जो important है जो important नहीं है उसको separate कर पाए, इसलिए वो experts हैं क्या? Or is it because they are refreshed and rebooted always, which is to say that they attend more refresher courses than we do, they do more panel discussions than we do, so they are refreshed and they keep rebooting. We spoke a little while about rebooting. They keep rebooting knowledge. So is it because of that they are experts? Is it because they see the eye of the needle better than we do? Eye of the needle meaning, यदि आपको याद होगा बचपन में अपने जो स्कूल का जो शर्ट का बटन टूट जाता था तो मम्मी कहती थी ये ले सुई ये ले धागा, धागा डाल सुई में और बटन अपना खुद सिला दे, मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है. Now you have the needle and you have the thread, a very thin thread and a very small opening of the needle, and you have to focus on putting it inside. Only very few people could do that. Otherwise, you get so frustrated. As many attempts as you do, you're not successful. Is it that they were so focused that they could see the eye of the needle better than you and me? Is it because they shared their knowledge, they shared their expertise more better than we did? They shared only not for our benefit. Of course, they did it for our benefit. They shared to grow. So, is it how they became experts? Or is it that their humility was so much that having learned so much, having become experts, they were humble ambassadors of the profession. They were humble in understanding that the knowledge that I have gained is not my knowledge. It has come to me daroharayi. It is something which has come to me from a tradition. And I am only meant to pass it on to others. So I am only an ambassador. I am just a humble ambassador. Were they able to understand that? Or is it that they imagined everything better? That they understood a situation. हम लोग जाते हैं ना, when we go for a council discussion, we hear that we as a practitioner or the client, they say a lot of things about the matter. They ask you only pointedly one or two questions, and they are able to imagine the entire situation with that one or two questions. Is it that they imagine the situation better? So we have a saying from Albert Einstein. He says, imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all that we already know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world, and there is far more things to know and understand than what we already know. Which brings me to probably something which in our own Shastras we say, which is Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. This is there in the Bhagavad Gita. The art of working skillfully is yoga, because the person who's realized is called a yogi. So the art of understanding whatever you know and putting that into use in a skillful manner is yoga. In fact, in the Bhagavad Gita, there are actually 3 yogas. It is called Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Karma Yoga. The one the yoga of knowledge, the yoga of devotion, and the yoga of duty. There are 3 different yogas. Now, each school of thought says that one is superior or one is the other is superior. They keep saying that, like how we are saying knowledge is supreme strength. There are so many people who say that. But actually, Sri Aurobindo, who coined our institute slogan, he brought about a concept called integral yoga. The integral yoga is nothing but a combination of all this, which really makes a person a yogi or a realized person, an expert. That is why a person becomes an expert. So we will deal with that a little more later. So let us join the dots of what we understood thus far. We said there is a knowledge, correct? And then to add to that, we said there is discrimination. Understanding what is the discriminative knowledge out of that. And then to add to that, we said humility. We added to that an ability to share knowledge. And then to that, we added steadfastness. To that, we added imagination. All of them collectively, what happened? It brought about skillful action. So, skillful action, and all this leading towards what? Towards all of this. If you take knowledge out of this exercise, all of them are all qualities. So it is these qualities that combined with knowledge to bring about skillful action. So it is not just knowledge alone that brought it about. It is basically a combination with all these qualities. Qualities are called guna in Sanskrit. Gunaha. Basically, we are all made up of three different qualities, if I would say. We are made up of a quality called goodness, piety, sharing, humility, knowledge, wanting to learn and grow. This is one bundle of qualities. One bundle of qualities is passion, activity, wanting to do a lot of things, very anxious. This is one bundle of qualities. Another bundle of qualities is dullness, laziness, negativity, wanting to do harm to others. All these qualities are there in all of us, and they are there in all of us in different combinations at different times. So, and these gunas qualities itself is what makes us what we are, our mind. So, I call that a trimix monkey. We all know that the mind is a trimix monkey. Trimix meaning that bundle of all these three qualities differently is what we are made up of. So, uh, I'll come to this a little while later. I wanted to do something right in the beginning. I forgot because in the heat of the discussion, there is one thing which I omitted. Bandish said, and our Anish also said about what my music inclinations are, and some of you probably would want to listen to me sing also. And the journey of what I have been doing as a chartered accountant and thereafter in so many things, एक मुसाफिर जैसे बहुत सारी चीजें कर रहा हूँ. So one of the things all of you want me to do is do songs. So I'll be taking breaks for songs. I'll be doing one more song a little later. This is what something which I wanted to do right up in the beginning. So I'll just take a short break for you. एक राह रुक गई तो और जुड़ गई, मैं मुड़ा तो साथ साथ राह मुड़ गई, हवा के परों पर मेरा आशियाना, मुसाफिर हूँ यारो, ना घर है ना ठिकाना, मुझे चलते जाना है, बस चलते जाना, मुसाफिर हूँ यारो, ना घर है ना ठिकाना, मुझे चलते जाना है, बस चलते जाना. So this is something which I wanted to do right up in the beginning. Somehow in the entire introduction business I got lost. So I was saying our mind is a trimix monkey, all of us. So we need to understand what we are. All of us work with three working tools. All of us, no exception. The working tools are body, mind, and intellect. All of us have the same thing. Now the body is the same for everyone. Gender-wise, whatever are the differences that apart, the body is same for everyone. Plus or minus organs are definitely there. For example, I am reminded of a joke of Johnny Lever, long ago heard. One guy was cycling and his friends were watching from the side. Suddenly this guy was cycling, he removed his hands and he said, "Hey, देख मेरा हाथ नहीं है, मेरा हाथ नहीं है, मेरा हाथ नहीं है." And then after some time he removed his legs also and he said, "देख मेरा पैर भी नहीं है, मेरा पैर भी नहीं है." A little while later, bang, he fell down and broke his teeth. He said, "Hey, देख मेरा दांत भी नहीं है." So this is the only difference in terms of body. We have some organs, we don't have some organs. These are visual differences. But functionally, the body is the same. All of us have the functions of the body are the same. So we can call that a hardware. With that hardware, we act. Correct? Now the mind differs in each of us. My mind is different from yours. Your mind is different from your neighbors. So minds are different for each of us. And it even within us, it differs from time to time. Today I'm calm, I'm talking to you. A little while later, I'll be angry, I'll shout at somebody. So the mind also keeps changing. It is fluctuating. which is why it is a trimix monkey. The qualities in the mind keeps changing in sort of in a state of flux, which is why it is called a trimix monkey. But it is free flowing. The mind's quality is free flowing. For example, if you were to stand on the shore of a river and see the banks of a river and see the river flowing, and you want to catch a small droplet of water there, and he says, I want to follow that. You can't even follow that for 1 centimeter because the water gets mixed with the other water. Like that, the mind gets mixed with a lot of thoughts. There is no continuity in thinking. ये सोचा उसके बाद में वो सोचा उसके बाद में वो सोचा. It is like a big free flowing river. It is a dump of data. Every data that we receive is all comes into that. So it's a data dump. With the mind, we feel. That is a function of the mind. Now there is an intellect. What is the function of the intellect? It has got rationale. So it basically rationalizes whatever we receive as a data. It discriminates, analyzes, and discriminates between what is right, what is wrong. All those exercises it does. And then it becomes a decision maker. It takes decisions. But the problem with the intellect is most often it loses to the mind because the mind is the one who controls. Well, I felt like this, I did it. But why did you do it? It is not a smart thing to do. No, I felt like it, I did it. This happens most often. So it loses to the mind often. It is the super processor, and with that super processor, we think. So this is a combination of the working tools in which all of us are using the same thing. But when you look at this combination, as the thoughts, so the mind, as the mind, so the man. So distinction between each of us is the quality of thoughts that we entertain, the way we work on those thoughts. That is the distinction between me and you. Otherwise, it's functionally the same that we have. So understanding this, what is your definition of your life? Each of us have our own definitions of life, no? So each of us will have that kind of different definitions. What is your definition of your life? So I tried to put up a word jumble of life, and what I got was a whole lot of words. So as I see it in front of me, I may probably see dedication, I may see decision making, I may see courage, hope, felicity. I'll see so many things, acceptance, so many things I will see. You will see probably different words, but you will not find, I didn't find a word called knowledge in any of this. Because knowledge is there in everything. Knowledge is not restricted to any one field, knowledge is there everywhere. Now, the question is, in my life, what are the qualities that I want to sort of pursue? What is it that I need to do to remove the limitations which are actually stopping me? So, this is what I need to do. For that, I need to become fearless. The moment I become fearless, I become limitless. There is, heaven knows what I can probably do. So, that is what we need to look at. So, and ultimately, what are we doing? All of us, I said, we all want to be happy. From childhood onwards, from the time we were born, from the cradle, what are we doing? We are all growing. This is the evolution of mankind. This is Darwin's theory of evolution. We were earlier monkeys. From monkeys, we became Adimano. From Adimano to a little more refined. Now we are modern man. So, in this process of man's growth, we have evolved. This is law of nature, isn't it? But I have an interesting saying by somebody very dear to all of us. He said, the contrast between the culture of ancient India, olden times, and that of modern India seems sufficient to disprove Darwin's theory of evolution. Darwin's theory of evolution is that we are all growing on an ongoing basis. This is what his theory was. But apparently, the person who said that was our dear Nani Palkhiwala, the fountainhead of knowledge, as far as we can say that for taxation is concerned. In fact, for the entire Indian constitution itself. What happens today is that we are so learned, we are so knowledgeable, we can do a lot of things, but are we actually doing what is our full capability? No, we seem to be digressing, we seem to be going downwards, we seem to have animalistic instincts, so that probably brings us down. That's what is happening to most of us. So is it really a theory of evolution or a theory of devolution? We need to understand. So here I break for questions. If anybody has got anything, you can surely ask. From the organizing team, if there is anything, you can surely ask. I see no open questions. If there is anything, you can surely ask me.
Any participant wishes to ask, we can unmute them also.
Yeah, if any chat, there are some 5 chats. Sir, there is little disturbance in voice. Participants can post questions. Voice cracking. Can you feel the voice is cracking?
Yeah, at the end, it is slightly, it is being cracked at the end of your this. If it is little loud, then more voice is cracking. So
So shall I do one thing? Shall I put on my this uh, mic? Maybe useful.
now it's clear. I think everyone is saying it's clear. So I think we'll keep it as it is, sir.
Varsha says voice is clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions? Is the feeling is quality of mind or intellect obsolete? Vijay, I didn't understand. Can you tell me what exactly this is? Vijay Mehta is saying, is the feeling is quality of mind or intellect? Jain Shah, knowledge is supreme, but knowledge of what? Exactly. So I'll be coming to that in my second segment, Jain Shah. You will understand what I'm talking about.
Vijay bhai, you can unmute yourself.
Vijay Mehta, you can unmute yourself.
My question is, you have said the we feel is a quality of a mind. I have a real doubt on this, whether it is a quality of a mind or intellectual or a soul. In fact, we call intellect as an antaratma or antasman, consciousness. I think feeling is a quality of a consciousness. It can never be a quality of a mind. So can you please either elaborate on this, how it can become a quality of a mind?
Sir, the moment you say that soul is based on certain qualities, then the soul is not supreme because qualities are changing. No, qualities are never constant. Today I am now talking to you very softly. Sometime later I can get angry. So the qualities can change.
Correct.
Whereas the soul is supreme, the soul is quality less. There are no qualities in the soul. The soul is the life energy which is flowing through you, the flowing through me. It is the same thing for everybody. So
If I
when we
accept- Sorry.
just let me finish that. So when we say that there are qualities in thoughts, the qualities are coming from the mind. First instance, it is a data dump, as I said. It receives in the mind. Then the intellect rationalizes and understands whether it is right, not right, whether I should get angry, not get angry. Through all of them, the soul is a constant, unchanging parameter which is running. I will come to that a little while later. You will understand when I'm saying that.
Okay, but if the soul leaves the body, then the feeling is also not there in a dead body. Everything
Because
else
there is no
is there.
energy. Because there is no energy.
What is the energy?
The energy is what the soul is. You can call it. I will give you an example in a little while later. You will understand.
Okay,
The
okay,
energy which is running across all of this to you, to me, is the same thing. The energy is not there. None of the apparatus will not function.
correct. Okay.
Jain Shah says how mind differs from chitta. Chitta is basically what you are saying. Chitta is your soul, and the mind is a functional apparatus. The mind is an apparatus, the body is an apparatus, the intellect is an apparatus. Chitta is basically your soul. That is unchanging. The mind is the one which is changing because it receives thoughts ongoing basis. So many things are happening. The chitta is constant. We will come to that. When I come to the next part, you will realize what I am saying. So I will move ahead.
So there is one question in Q&A by CA Atul Purani. We are overburdened by knowledge sometimes. He has commented. Yeah.
Very true. The question is, how much are you in a position to differentiate between the necessary and unnecessary? You know, there is one saying that the mind is like a garbage can. It receives everything, no, because it is free flowing. Everything that is where the intellect has to come in to say, this knowledge is not relevant to me. Why should I keep it with me? Aya chhod diya. The problem is we retain it and then we get agitated. You don't need to retain it. Leave it, let it go. It is not important. Let it go. Knowledge is intellect's domain and intellect falls prey to mind, then how knowledge will be supreme? Hitendra Gandhi's very valid question, sir. Very, very valid question. Because knowledge is in the knowledge analysis is in the intellect's domain. And the intellect falls prey to the mind. For example, you tell a child that don't touch the gas, your finger will burn. The child doesn't listen. The child puts the finger there and the finger burns. So what the child is saying is, whatever mummy is saying I should not do, I will not obey. So I'll put the finger there. So the mind is saying, put the finger there. Intellect of the mother has already said, don't put your finger there. And then you get burned. So this is what happens. Then how knowledge will be supreme? It is basically supreme is your soul is supreme. Knowledge, how you apply knowledge, that is what happens. In the world of action, you have to use knowledge. How to differentiate important and not important knowledge. We will come to that. If we stop here, then we will not move ahead. I will just park this question. I am moving ahead.
Yes.
So let us understand how did we get here. Get here meaning how did we get into this session? Did we accidentally get dropped into this session? किसी ने अपने को डाके डाला तो नहीं है. We didn't come here accidentally. We chose to come here. Why? You chose to attend, register, whatever is the link that chamber chose to call me. Chamber chose to tell you something. I chose to come and talk to you. So it is a collective choice of people that made this session happen. Similarly, it is the collective choice of a lot of people with different various minds and intellects that made this entire world itself happen. So every situation in which we are encountering now, it is a collective choice of a lot of people that has made it happen. Why we came here, all of us, why have we made this happen? It is a curiosity to solve a paheli, curiosity to solve a puzzle. What is that puzzle? That puzzle is called life. We all want to know what is this life. So in this curiosity to know what is life, we have all chosen to come here. It is not an accident कि किसी ने जाके वो बोलते हैं ना, बच्चा कैसे आया? A stork came and dropped it. Stork did not come and drop it. It is a choice that we have made. That is why we have come here. So it is a collective choice of all those people that this world is here, and all of us are here to only solve this puzzle or this riddle called life. Which again brings me to another song. I mean, all of you know that you relate me with songs, so I'll keep breaking into a few songs. I got about 5 of them for you, 5 or 6 of them. This is from the film Anand. I'll be just singing one antra. जिन्होंने सजाए यहाँ मेले, सुख दुख संग संग झेले, जिन्होंने सजाए यहाँ मेले, सुख दुख संग संग झेले, वही चुन कर खामोशी यूं चले जाए अकेले कहाँ. जिंदगी कैसी है पहेली हाय, कभी तो हंसाए कभी ये रुलाए. So this life which makes us do different things, sometimes make us do happy things, sometimes make us do sad things. It's a curious puzzle that this is a curious maze that we are trying to resolve, and that is why we are all here, and we move ahead and understand that. Why this happens, this curiosity itself, is because from childhood we know only one thing. Like how I told you this example, mother is telling the child, don't put your finger on the gas. Why? What will happen? When will happen? How it will happen? So this why, what, when, how is a constant quest of knowledge. This is human nature. Human intellect nature is like that. That we have a constant quest for knowledge, and that is the beauty of the human intellect, and that is what we need to explore. This curiosity, this puzzle, this is how we resolve. Now, you were asking me a question a little while ago. I am now talking to you. My camera is working, my laptop is working, my mobile is working, my speaker is working. All of them are connected to power points of the respective, power supplies. When I switch on, they will all come to light. For all of them, the constant energy which is being supplied is electricity. Can we see electricity? We can't see electricity, isn't it? Electricity is running through them. When I switch on the camera will work. Computer will not work. When I switch on the computer, computer will work. Mobile will not work. When I switch on the mobile, mobile will work. The speaker will not work. Like that, each of us will function when our tools are switched on. But all of them function, these apparatuses are functioning from electricity, which is an unknown factor. It is there running behind. We all know it is running behind. That is the energy which is supplying electricity all over the world. It is the same thing. Yet we don't see it. Similarly, the chitta, the soul that you talk about, is that energy field which is running over the entire world. When your mind, intellect, and the body contact with it, you function in a particular way. I function in a particular way. Each of our apparatuses are different. The apparatus is not the same as the electricity which is making them function. This is what I was trying to explain a little while earlier. So, what is your calling then? I'm a chartered accountant. I chose not to be a chartered accountant, and I chose to be a life coach. I chose to sing. So, my calling kept on changing. But what should be my ultimate calling? My ultimate calling should be to know this life, this puzzle called life. Is that calling me? When that calling is calling me, I will start running to find that. Alongside a lot of other things, I will start trying to find out what is that right knowledge. All these apparatuses I told you, camera, laptop, blah, 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 everything, they all came with a user manual. It showed me how to use it, how to connect, what to press to function what. There was a user manual. When we were born, where is my user manual? Is there a user manual? We just came, we started living, and we have grown living like this only continuously. There is no user manual that came with us. Is it a manufacturer's defect? We learned from the world. The world where our parents were, the world where our siblings were, the world where our family was, the world where our friends were, the world where our associations, professional, teachers, we learned from the world. The world was my teacher. But what did I learn? I learned a lot of things. But yet I am ignorant. I am ignorant about the real knowledge of life. That is what I need to pursue. I'm sure that this 90-minute session is not going to end up doing that, but I am pondering, making you ponder about these questions. Is this not the quest that we must have to try to find out where we came from and what we came for? So, as I said, we have equated knowledge and skill, which is not really true. Somebody asked a question, what is right knowledge? Because we seem to assume that the knowledge of my accounting profession, the knowledge of my tax profession, the knowledge of something else, is what makes me knowledgeable. No, that is not the same as knowledge. Knowledge is right knowledge, which we have yet to learn. That which is to know, that which is there to know, is knowledge. And that knowledge is always there. It's not something which is coming from outside, it's always there. But that which is to use is skill. So I learned accountancy, because of that I'm able to audit a balance sheet and sign a balance sheet. Skill. I learned music, because of that I'm able to sing. Skill. So I gain knowledge which is for the sake of a skill. It is not the same as real knowledge. The skill that I've acquired is in the nature of a transactional knowledge. It is transactional in nature. Whereas the real knowledge that I must acquire is transcendental, that it must take me beyond the state of whatever are my limitations and make me happy, make me free. That is the purpose of real knowledge. We are at the moment like this, Gajni, ignorant. मैं क्यों आया? मुझे क्या करना है? That is the state in which we are, totally confused. I am not saying totally confused that every time we realize it, but when such a talk comes about, we realize how confused we are. That is when our mind's antennas open up and we start wondering, अरे क्या है? क्या कर रहे हैं? Correct? So this is one picture which all of you will probably understand. This is the human skeleton. Now, what is running constantly from top to bottom in this? It is the vertebral column, or backbone as we call it, from the cervix to the lower part of the spine. This is what is running. Correct? Now see various bones, the ribs which are attached to that. Now the ribs are all attached to that. Now if you remove this backbone, all those ribs will fall apart. Like that backbone, real knowledge is the backbone of our existence itself. That is the backbone of our existence. All the other knowledge that we have gained, like these ribs, they are peripheral in nature. They have connected. They have connected, and what we assume as skill-based knowledge is what is connected to real knowledge of ourselves which is there. And either we are in this state like the ignorant Gajini, or we are in a ma cool, जो अपने को मालूम है उसमें कि अपन तो बिंदास है भाई, ऐसा, that is how we are. We are, so this truth which I said, this knowledge is truth based. So this truth is the foundation of knowledge. We are on the other side, like अपने को सब पता है यार, एकदम बिंदास लाइफ है, जीने का, ऐश करने का, मजा करने का, like our रजनी, stylish, एकदम बिंदास. This is skill based. These skills are quality based. So we cannot equate that with real knowledge. So now I mentioned that when we were born, we did not have a user manual. So to understand this difference between the two, is there somewhere where we can go to and say, yes, I want to know this? Of course, there will be teachers who will require to teach, like how somebody taught us accountancy or taxation, like that we need teachers. But what is that manual? That manual is called Bhagavad Gita. You would have understood by now that most of the concepts that I'm capturing, they are all from the Bhagavad Gita. So it's like a user manual on understanding what is life and how to deal with life. We are all in the state of blissful ignorance. Blissful ignorance, many of you would have heard this statement कि ignorance is bliss. जो समझ में नहीं आता उसके बारे में काय को टेंशन लेने का, जाने दो ना. Blissful, बरोबर है ना? That is the state in which we are. I have this Calvin and Hobbes comic which says, is it right to remain ignorant? I don't know, but I refuse to find out. मतलब एक तो अपन को पता है कि ignorant है, और दूसरा हम लोग उसको निकालने के लिए हम लोग प्रयास भी नहीं करते. This is our nature at the moment, because अरे यार वो अभी नहीं करना है, बाद में करेंगे. That is the way we put it off, because अरे बहुत मुश्किल है, अब अपने से नहीं होएगा पापा. This is how we try to put off these things. This is another beautiful picture to explain that. Both of them are in the prison. One guy is drawing the bars of the prison. What is he seeing? He is seeing captivity. He is seeing that he is confined. So he is only able to look within the captivity. He is drawing the bars. Whereas the other fellow is seeing beyond captivity. He is seeing the freedom outside. And he is drawing the picture of that freedom which is outside. So the art of knowing is knowing what to ignore. Real knowledge, somebody said. This is what we need to focus on. Knowing what to ignore. जो गलत है, जो we are being dumped with a lot of unnecessary knowledge. छोड़ दो उसको. Try to retain that which is important. Like for example, knowledge is knowing that tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is not to use it in a fruit salad. You have to use it in a vegetable salad, although it is a fruit. Ignorance is bliss. Sadhguru says this. Ignorance is bliss until you hit the ground. मालूम नहीं है क्या है, चलेगा चलेगा. One fine day, bang, you fall down. You wake up. My God, what has happened? Then you realize that your ignorance is actually worked against you, and that is now is when you need to get up and start acting. And the other side is there, the law of conservation of knowledge. कितना भी ignorant रहेगा, उसको चाहे कितना आप lecture दे दो, चाहे कितना class ले लो, वो बंदा तो उधर से आगे निकलेगा ही नहीं. Because the knowledge before the lecture and after the lecture is the same. From Three Idiots, you know that example of that guy, Farhan nitrate and pre-rajulization, Farhan or Raju ka. So this is how it is. And we are very strange people. We have an ego of what we know. Whatever we know, we have an ego. कि मुझे मालूम है, मुझे मालूम है. But we have no knowledge about our ego. We think that we are not egoistic, but all of us are in some way or the other egoistic. That's a fact. Another great ignorance that we have. तो मैं तो कभी मरेगा ही नहीं. We don't say this, but the way we live is like that, as if we are never going to die. It's the greatest ignorance that we have. Because जो पता है कि इंटेलेक्चुअली कि आज नहीं तो कल मरेंगे, 70, 80, 90, 100 कहीं ना कहीं तो जाके मरेगा, लेकिन जब जीते हैं ना, वो आइडिया ही नहीं रहता कि बाबा मैं कल मरूंगा, तो देयर इज समथिंग व्हिच आई नीड टू डू नाउ. आई एम लूजिंग टाइम. आई डोंट नो हाउ द क्लॉक इज टिकिंग. मेरे जेब में जो टिकट है उसका वैलिडिटी डेट कब तक है मुझे पता नहीं है, लेकिन बिहेव तो ऐसे करता है कि मुझे पता है. Let us understand the stages in which my life was. I was a child. I was a hep guy in college. I was an achiever. I became whatever I was as a professional. One day I'll become an old hag. I'll go to a retirement home, do whatever it is. But I don't remember one thing. I don't remember one thing, that I died as a child to become a hep guy. I died as a hep guy to become an achiever. I died as an achiever to become an old hag. At every stage of evolution of mind, I have died from the previous form. Because of that only the new avatar is possible. So this death is happening on an ongoing basis. Yet, what is our greatest fear? Our greatest fear is death. For example, this image from Three Idiots when Rancho calls him from the road and from the top to rile him. He says, "अरे बेटा, आज तुम शाम को तुम मर जाओगे." "हाँ?" डर गया, क्या होगा मुझे? बोलते तू जाएगा तो रोड क्रॉस करते वक्त ध्यान से क्रॉस करना, नहीं तो गाड़ी आके मार देगी। बोलते मुझे मालूम है, आई नो इंटेलिजेंटली दैट इज व्हाट विल हैपन, बट दैट फियर इज देयर, दिस इज देयर इन ऑल ऑफ अस, दैट फियर। Again, a Calvin Hobbes cartoon, he says, if I'm just going to die, what's the point in living? But you have to live, isn't it? You have been born because there is a purpose you have to serve. You have to understand that purpose and live like that. Paulo Coelho also says something similar to that. We live as if we are never going to die, and we die as if we never lived. This is the problem. But what we need to really do is find a purpose and start leaving our own unique footprints in the world. That is what each of us is capable of. We are all unique in that respect. That is what we have to strive towards. I am reminded of that dialogue from Sholay. ठाकुर न झुक सकता है न टूट सकता है, ठाकुर सिर्फ मर सकता है. You should have that brave this thing that I will leave my own footprint in the sands of time. Now, it's important for us to understand, doing all this, it is important for us to understand to be in our own skin. What do I mean by being in our own skin? We need to know what we are capable of. What is our specialization. Now, if I start making a some sort of a nuclear device, it won't work because I don't know. That is not my skin. Somebody who doesn't know to sing, he starts singing, he will say, "Arey yaar, mere se hota nahi hai." We try as much as we can, although music is there in everybody. This I am strongly in agreement with. But you have to encourage them to do that, isn't it? That is what it is. So it's important for us to be in our skin, understanding what is it that our capability is. I have moved professions one by one. I have understood that there are certain things I can do, certain things I can't do. So that is how I have progressed. Like that, we need to understand what is in your skin. For example, a cow cannot meow like a cat, nor can a cat moo like a cow. This identity crisis, we need to understand that. We have to understand what is my core capability and start working in that direction. So now when we join the dots, what is coming through? We have a curious mind and we have an egoless, skillful application. And then we have a surrender attitude, surrender to something which is higher, something which is far more, let's say, unknown than me, like the electricity. And then we have to overcome the fear of all limitations that we have. And we need to know our own self. What is my skin? We need to understand that. All of this together gives me what? Right knowledge. That is when the right knowledge will come to me. Otherwise, it's all a data dump which is coming through me. And from all that, what are we doing? We are only trying to seek happiness. Ultimately, whatever we do, we only want to seek happiness. So, for that, we need to be ready to unlearn to relearn. I want to give you a couple of stories here. We are all professionals. We are engaging in what is called this panel discussion, etc. We are very familiar with. So there was a great scholar, let's call him Mr. S, and he was going across the country trying to spread his knowledge. And he came across another scholar in a different town. Let us call him Mr. M. And then he said he invited M for a panel discussion on the topic that they knew, the common knowledge that they had. And he said that if I win, you become my disciple. If you win, I become your disciple. But any panel discussion requires a moderator. So Mr. S said, okay, you make Mrs. S as the moderator, because Mrs. is also a very knowledgeable person. So they had I'm not going into the story, they had a panel discussion and Mr. S won. And when Mr. S won, Mr. M became his disciple. This is a story from the life of Adi Shankaracharya. The person who asked is of course Shankaracharya himself. Mr. M is a scholar by name Mandana Mishra. And in that debate, the school of thought that Shankara was trying to propagate, he won over that, and Mishra became his disciple, and he was subsequently called Sureshwaracharya, one of the 4 disciples of Shankara. Another story, we should be ready for self-effort. That is, we must be willing to work on ourselves to grow. There was one dacoit, thief, चोर, जो भी बोलो, लोगों को ऐसी रास्ते में रोक देता, चाकू बताया, चोरी करके चला गया. एक दिन उसको सामने उसका एक महापुरुष मिल गया. उसको महापुरुष बोलता है, अरे तू क्यों चोरी करता है? बोलता मैं चोरी करता हूँ क्योंकि मुझे मेरे फैमिली को खिलाना है, इसके लिए मैं चोरी करता हूँ. लेकिन तू एक काम कर, तू तेरे फैमिली को जाके पूछ कि तू जो चोरी कर रहा है उसमें वो लोग भागीदार हैं क्या. तो ठीक बोलते ठीक है, जाके पूछता है फैमिली को, तू बाबा मेरी चोरी में तुम भागीदार हो गया. फैमिली बोलती है नहीं, वो तो तुम्हारा काम है, तुम्हारा काम है कि हमको खिलाना, तुम कैसे खिलाते हो वो तुम्हारा है, उसमें जो भी प्रॉब्लम हुआ वो तुम्हारा. वो एकदम ये हो जाता है, एकदम मायूस हो जाता है. बात आता है वापस उस महापुरुष के पास। तो महापुरुष बोलता है, तू अभी तक जो जीवन जी रहा था वो गलत है, उस जीवन को त्याग करके मैं तेरे को एक मंत्र देता हूँ, एक मंत्र देता हूँ, वो मंत्र तू रिपीट करते रहना, मैं कुछ दिनों के बाद में आऊंगा, तब तक वही बोलते रहना, तू अपने आप ज्ञानी हो जाएगा, तेरे अंदर में जो नेगेटिविटी है वो निकल जाएगा। तो मंत्र देता है, वो बोलता नहीं ये मंत्र मेरे मुंह में प्रोनाउंस करने को नहीं हो रहा, तो बोलता उसको उल्टा बोल दे। तो बोलता हाँ ठीक है मैं उल्टा बोल सकता हूँ, उल्टा बोलता है। वो उल्टा बोल के वो बहुत दैट पर्सन दैट डेकॉइड बहुत ज्ञानी बन जाता है। द नेम ऑफ दैट डेकॉइड वाज रत्नाकरा। रत्नाकरा मीनिंग सेज वाल्मीकि। वी ऑल नो वाल्मीकि wrote रामायण। द मंत्र दैट नारद, द अदर, वो जो महापुरुष थे, ही वाज नारद। नारद gave him mantra called Rama. Just chant Rama, Rama, Rama. He says, I can't utter Rama. He says, Mara, Mara, you know trees, no, in the jungle. So called Mara, Mara, Mara. Mara, Mara became Rama, Rama. And that is how we say there is a story which goes that Valmiki became realized and he wrote Ramayana himself. So Sanskrit itself as a language has evolved to a great extent because of Valmiki. So that is the kind of self-effort that is required. Another story, we must be, knowledge is meant to be shared. We have a story in Mahabharata when the Pandavas and Kauravas were very small. They were going through the jungle. One jungle boy, hunter's son, came to Dronacharya, and said, I want to learn archery from you. Drona said, no, I cannot teach you because you are not a Raj. I am a Rajguru. I teach only the royal children. I can't teach you. And they go away. Now this boy goes back into the forest and makes a statue of Dronacharya and worships him, and he learns archery by himself. A few years later, they come back again to the forest, and suddenly Drona finds that in a dog's mouth there are about 2-3 arrows suddenly shot by somebody. He says, this is expert archery. Who has done it? He goes and finds out that it is the same boy. He says, how did you learn? Who taught you? He says, nobody taught me. You taught me, Guruji. So I didn't teach you. I was never your guru. He says, I made a murti of you, and then from that I have learned myself. Now Drona got challenged because Drona was always saying that Arjuna is the greatest archer in his lifetime. So, and the fact that this boy has learned without giving Guru Dakshina. So Drona tells him, you have learned without giving Guru Dakshina, you have to give Guru Dakshina. He says, whatever you tell me, Guruji. He says, now you have to cut your right thumb and give me. So that boy cuts his right thumb and gives. That boy's name was Ekalavya. So this is also the story, because this basically tells us that knowledge, ultimately, you are only a conduit for knowledge to reach the right people. You have to share knowledge. That is the job of a teacher. You cannot distinguish between A and B. You have to just teach. And in this entire journey of knowledge, everybody's journey is unique. Please understand this. Your journey is different, my journey is different. We cannot equate them at all. It is something totally different. So let us learn to, do this journey on our own, this quest on our own, and this curiosity of this paheli, we have to solve it on our own. As so this is अकेला चलने के लिए एक और गीत मुझे याद आया, मुकेश जी का गाया हुआ गीत है। तेरा कोई साथ ना दे तो तू खुद से प्रीत जोड़ ले, बिछौना धरती को करके अरे आकाश ओढ़ ले। यहाँ पूरा खेल अभी जीवन का तूने कहाँ है खेला, चल अकेला चल अकेला चल अकेला, तेरा मेला पीछे छूटा राही चल अकेला, चल अकेला चल अकेला चल अकेला, तेरा मेला पीछे छूटा राही चल अकेला. So this is a brief break from the joining the dots. So again, ask time. Whatever you want to ask, you can ask now. For another couple of minutes, I will take a break from this.
So there is one question in Q&A.
Mm-hmm.
If we have to die one day, should we not have knowledge or develop oneself?
That is why we are born. We know for a fact that we are going to die one day. The purpose of life itself is to uncover life. So it is important that you start getting that knowledge now, working towards that knowledge now. That is our duty. That is what we are born for. Everything else is peripheral duty.
There is one hand is raised by Vijay Bhai. I'll just unmute him. Vijay Bhai, you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. Mr. Subramaniam, my question is whether knowledge comes from outside or knowledge comes from within.
We will come to that again. I'll be speaking on that. Ultimately, knowledge is all there. Knowledge is not, nobody is giving you any knowledge. Everybody is a conduit of knowledge. Knowledge is already there within you. All you have to do is remove the ignorance which is already covering that knowledge. We are all working. I will be dealing with ignorance now. The moment you remove ignorance, knowledge is there to see.
So we will discuss this at the end. Okay.
Yeah, we will discuss this at the end, surely.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, there is one more question. How to differentiate between important and not important knowledge?
See, that which is giving you anxiety, that which is giving you some sort of an ego satisfaction, कि मुझे मालूम है, that is not genuine knowledge. The real knowledge is when you realize that after realizing everything, how small you are. That in the vastness of knowledge, you are just one small speck. No matter what is the field of knowledge, in the vastness of knowledge, you are a small speck. That is when you say that you are knowledgeable. For example, I was speaking about those experts, why they became humble ambassadors. Because after gathering all the knowledge that they have, they still, there are arrogant people, I'm not denying that, but then imagine those people with whom you went and then they were humbly telling you that this is what is the way we need to approach, this is what is the way we need to approach, and say, ultimately backtrack. They don't have ownership about that. That is when you realize that you have got true knowledge. Till then, you are only in the ego, running around egoistically.
So there is one thing to summarize: be in the present moment always. Please comment.
You will be coming to that. You will be coming to that. I'm talking about that. I'm talking about that also. Yes, you have to be in the present moment. The present is all that we have. This moment is all that we have. Nothing else we had, nothing else we will have.
But how to know what knowledge I got is correct and not ego satisfaction knowledge?
It is for you to analyze yourself. You cannot validate this through anybody else. Should you? You have to analyze yourself. You are capable because the tools that you have is the same that I have. You analyze. The moment you start thinking that अरे मुझे मालूम है, the moment you start getting that impression in your own mind, अरे मुझे मालूम है, ego आ गया. Ego is what? I, me, myself. Wherever this thought comes into your mind, you don't have to speak it. Ego आ गया.
How to help knowledge practically?
Wonderful. The moment you have knowledge, you start thinking that knowledge मैंने book में पढ़ लिया. Unless you have experiential knowledge, you cannot validate knowledge. For example, I tell you a lot of things about Bhagavad Gita, everything. How will you get experiential knowledge? When you are faced with a real life situation, how you deal with it. When you have to understand the import of that knowledge through meditation, how you understand it, how you realize it. That is when you will be able to remove the chaff from the rice. You only need to retain the rice. The chaff you have to remove. This is not so. वो अपना पुराने पिक्चर में बताते थे कि वो फूल एक रोज का फूल लेके बोलते हैं प्रेमी के सामने खड़ा होता है. She loves me not. She loves me not. पूरा निकलने के बाद में रह जाता डंडू. Actually, that nothingness is knowledge. So long as you are in the periphery of those petals, your ego is there. No, she loves me not. अभी क्या? यही है सच्चाई. So that is what you need to understand. That these are all examples. This is not something which can be taught like how we are teaching accountancy. This you have to experience, and then for that experiencing, you need to have multiple sessions of understanding, reflecting, introspecting. This is how the process goes on.
Knowledge of specific subject is have, but not in totality. Sometimes use knowledge on case-to-case basis and error affects due to multiple thoughts.
Sorry. What is that once again?
Knowledge of specific subject is had, but not in totality.
Is it there in
Sometimes
the
use
principle box?
knowledge on case-to-case
Yeah,
basis
Rajesh
and
is that.
error affects. Yes, it is in the Q&A
Knowledge of
box.
specific
Yes.
subject is have, but not in totality. Sometimes use knowledge on case to case basis. And error affects due to multiple thoughts, which is why you are not in the present. See, Rajesh, what happens is when you are not in the present, you will get clouded by a lot of your your own interpretations, your expected results, or your anxiety of having made certain mistakes in the past. So, with that limited knowledge, what you try to do is you try to understand the total knowledge, and you make errors because there are multiple thoughts. Something is coming in. अरे रे 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 नहीं पहले ऐसा हुआ था. अरे रे बाद में ऐसा होगा. You are never in the now. The moment you are in the now, automatically everything falls into place. I am talking about being in the now in a little while. I'll come to that. It's about being in the present. You will be in a position to solve this only by being in the present. Whether knowledge of separation, separating body, mind, and senses from the soul, can be said to be supreme? Of course, yes. Because once you remove Vijayansha, once you remove journeys from Shunya to Shunyata, perfectly right. This is what I was saying just now. That moment you remove all the petals, she loves me not, everything else separated. What remains? What remains is Shunyata, no? That Shunyata, it is not Shunyata. That is the ultimate. Because that is where you came from and that is where you are going to go. That is what we are trying to, but it is such an abstract thing that with our limited intellect, we will not be in a position to understand. So I'll move ahead now. The rest of the questions I leave now. We will take it in the end now. So the session is getting completed. So we come to the last part, which is about power. Who is the strongest? In the context of the COVID, I will give this example. You can relate this to the total overall situation in the world itself. In the context of the COVID, when you look at it, the king, meaning to say the ruler, the administrator, the municipality, the governments, whatever it is. Now they are saying that I am the strongest because whatever I say is the ultimate because I have the power. Correct? This we are experiencing now, even with the lockdown last year. Now everywhere we are experiencing that. Then we have the kind of business people, the ones who are actually making all the money. They are also responsible for providing money to the rulers for governing us. So they are the ones who create the enterprise. They are the ones who create all activity which generates the assets, the resources which is required. He says, I am the one who making all the moolah. I am the one making the vaccine. I am the one making the oxygen plant, everything. So I am the man who's the strongest. Then of course we have the teachers. Like they say, listen, buddies, you learned from me. I am the one who taught you. You may be a politician, you may be a businessman. I am the one who taught you. I am the scientist who's now created all this knowledge about what is the vaccine. पहले 6 हफ्ते में चल सकता था, अभी 21 हफ्ते के बाद मिलेगा तो भी चलेगा. So I am the one. I am the strongest. And we have the various service providers. We have people in the municipality, in the police. They are the ones who are actually doing the groundwork for all of this. They are the ones who are actually implementing all this. They will say, I am the strongest because obviously they are the people who are delivering it on the ground. But मैं एक बोलता हूँ, I am the boss. मैं अपने बारे में बोल रहा हूँ, I am the boss. You know why? Because my wife gave me permission to say that I am the boss. I am the strongest. Last year during the lockdown, I was calling up a few of my friends and generally finding out कैसा है क्या है वो सब पूछ रहे थे. तो एक बंदे को फोन किया. I asked him, अरे buddy, how are you? So he was saying, I am working currently on aquathermal treatment of ceramics, aluminium and steel under a constrained environment. मैं बोला दुनिया लॉकडाउन में चल रही है, ये इतना कौन सा बड़ा काम कर रहा है. रियली आई वाज सरप्राइज. बोला इसका फैक्ट्री तो एकदम जोर शोर से चल रहा होगा. आई वाज रियली इम्प्रेस्ड. एक 2 मिनट सोचा, फिर बाद में मैंने दोबारा उसको फोन किया. मैं बोला तू क्या बोल रहा है, हिंदी में पूछा. तू बोल रहा था क्या कर रहा है. अब कुछ नहीं यार, भांडी घास रहा हूँ, बीवी मेरी निगरानी कर रही है, भांडी घास रहा हूँ. So I am the boss of this house and I have my wife's permission to say so. So this is what it is. But really when you look at strength in terms of people, we have the old Varna system. The Varna system, you had a Brahmana who was a teacher, who taught everything, all the knowledge was taught by him. Then from the knowledge that was taught by him, the Kshatriya, who was a ruler, he was ruling the kingdom, governing everybody. Then the Vaishya, who was the person managing all the businesses, all the trade which was required in the kingdom. He was the one managing all the businesses, and all peripheral services were being done by the Shudras. Now, can you look at a situation where each of them can say that I am the strongest? Collectively, if all of them are not there and complementing each other's work, the society will not flourish, isn't it? So ultimately, when you talk in terms of strength, strength is in coexistence. No one person or no one set of knowledge can say that I am supreme. It is ultimately a coexistence of all the streams of knowledge collectively which will push forward any society ahead. So probably, if I can give you an example, we have the synthesis of all these knowledge which was there in our nation earlier, about 2500 years ago. This was the Maurya kingdom. Now, if you look at the Maurya kingdom, we all know that Chanakya was the teacher and Chandragupta Maurya, he was the leader. So, collectively, they made a huge difference to the kingdom. They brought prosperity to the kingdom. They brought good governance. They brought a lot of, what can I say, people oriented thinking. So, it was 2500 years ago. Come on. This is what was flourishing at that time. So, this is the society we are from. This is what we have to look at. We have coexisted, and we, as a coexisting society, we have tried to make the society itself grow. This is our ancestry. And then we have on the other side, during Mahabharata, far bigger than this, the kingdom was far bigger than this. Of course, there is a Mahabharata war where the brothers fought and they won and all that. That's a different story. But the fact is that coexistence on the basis that everybody has a contribution to make the society vibrant is what is important. So this is what is called integrated nationhood, where supreme strength is in the integration of everybody. Integration of knowledge, integration of people, integration of various activities. That is how nation grows. So now we have to choose what we need to do in life. We have a choice. It's all left to us what we want to do. We can choose what we want to know. We can choose to know peripheral knowledge like accountancy, taxation, which is definitely required. It is skills that we need. Or we can choose to know the real knowledge which we have been deprived of by our own choice. We can choose to do that. We can also choose to know how we can know that knowledge. Like how Jayan Bhai asked, is it not something which is already there? Yes, of course it is already there. And we have to remove the layers of ignorance which is clouding our mind from knowing that. We can overcome the limitations which are actually preventing. Whatever are the limitations, sometimes it is to do, मेरे को मेरा धंधा करना है, काम करना है, मैं थोड़ी ना इसके पीछे भागेगा, ये मैं बाद में करूंगा और मर गया, यही होने वाला है. So we have to overcome those limitations and say that no, I need to do it. It is important for me to do it now. We can choose to be wise, strong, and powerful. It is entirely our choice. It is what we can choose, and we can definitely be that. We can design a life of happiness and contentment for ourselves. It is entirely left to us. We can surely do that. So here I want to bring across one segment of work that I do. Basically, I conduct a series on my life and my choices. Is there more to know about life? Is my life? Do I have ownership of my own life? Is it that I'm the master of my choices? Do I have all the freedom that I need to make? So these are the things that I discuss with various interest groups. This is what I do. So just for your information, we have Nani Palkiwala saying this: Indian culture encourage the cultivation of the intellect not as a commodity for sale, but for the joy of developing our own inquesting mind, experiencing what is needed to be experienced. So this is what our society has always encouraged. It is for us to take it forward. So, what is the power of life? What is the power of life? There are two important days in life. The first day is the day when we were born, and the second day when we knew why we were born. That is the day we have to find out when we knew why we were born. We are born to understand this life itself, the purpose of life itself. That is what is the most important day. What comes my way is destiny. What comes my way, whatever experiences, whatever situations come to me, I have no control over that. It will just come because I am living, those things will come to me. But I have control over how I can deal with it. Isn't it? So one is you can call takdir. मेरा तकदीर क्या है मुझे नहीं मालूम. How to deal with it? Tadbir. By effort, I can deal with it differently. I'm reminded of that song from Vidata, Dilip Kumar and Shami Kapoor. तकदीर है क्या मैं क्या जानूं, तकदीर है क्या मैं क्या जानूं, मैं आशिक हूं तदबीरों का, आंखों की चंद लकीरों का, ये खेल है सब तकदीरों का. So it's like this, that what comes my way is my takdir. How I deal with it is entirely left to my self effort, and that I have a control over. We have a personality, the way we think, the way we act, there's a personality, and there is a power which is underlying for all of us, and that power we need to recognize. That is the power which is actually energizing life itself. We have to fill our life with a lot of goodness, sharing, caring, learning. This is what we need to do. Money definitely is a very important role. Resources are very important in life, and resources we must acquire. But that is not a milestone. I mean, you can say that I will earn 5 crores in another 10 years, and then after that you say, I want another 5 crores another 2 years. I want another 10 crores after another 5 years. Okay, it's never ending because there is no milestone to it. It is for you to understand that I need to go beyond and learn what I need to do with my own life. There is an ocean which is waiting to be tamed, and that ocean is our mind. And for taming that ocean, you need to be a witness. I sang a song, Zindagi Kaisi Hai Pehli, a little while earlier. This is on Juhu Beach, Rajesh Khanna on Juhu Beach. Now just imagine a situation. You are sitting on the beach and watching the ocean. Deep, long in the horizon, you will find that the ocean is calm. Then after some time, there are some waves which are coming. And a little later, the waves become bigger and bigger. And as they are nearing the shore, the waves become smaller and smaller. And then gradually, when they are hitting the shore, they become very shallow. And then the water goes back and comes back again. Now imagine that this ocean is your mind. Deep within your mind, there is only calmness. There is only total tranquility. But thoughts that come to your mind, they create so much of agitation that they play a havoc in your mind, and then they start rising too high. And then finally, as you put in your effort, they become calmer and calmer, and they come to the shore where you are a witness. On the shore, you are a witness. So you must become a witness to your own mind for taming the ocean. As you witness it, you will understand that ये धीरे 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 कम हो रहा है. Now धीरे धीरे कम हो रहा है मतलब your mind is becoming calmer, because that is what you need to understand. The origin was tranquil. The origin was totally calm. That is what you need to understand. Everything else is created by our own thinking process. That is what we need to manage. And for that, there are 3 qualities we need to drop. One is attachment. Mostly our things are to do with attachment. Attachment to our near ones, attachment to money, attachment to position, attachment to this, that. Fear. Fear meaning fear of losing what we are attached to. And anger, because of the fear of losing something and supposing it is lost, or supposing something we want to get and it doesn't come to us, we get angry. This combination of attachment, fear and anger, which is called Vita Raga Bhaya Krodha, we basically give up Raga, attachment, Bhaya, fear, Krodha, anger. The moment you give up all these things, suddenly you will find that there is solutions to all that you think. For that, there are a few rules that I would like to give. First and foremost, I said it a little while ago. We need to let go. Let go, be prepared to forgive. Be prepared to forget things which were unpleasant. Because you can hold on, that is only going to cause more and more bitterness in your mind. We can ignore naysayers. Lot of people will tell us, no, it's not possible for you. We have come across. We need to learn to say no. Ignore them. Only then we will be in a position to see whether we are really capable. The moment we are judged by somebody, we should not change our own thinking about ourselves. Give it time. Most importantly, give it time. Because many times what happens is we give our time schedule. मेरे को ये चाहिए, मेरे को 5 दिन में होना चाहिए. 5 दिन में नहीं होगा तो मैं बहुत नाराज हो जाएगा. 5 दिन में नहीं होता है, 6ठे दिन में like you are like आग बबूला. That is not the case. Allow things to happen, because there may be certain things which are not in your control. Allow things to happen. Give it time. Everything will fall in place. Don't compare your life with somebody else. This is the biggest mistake we make. And we do that mostly to children. देख वो कैसा है, देख वो कैसी है. The biggest mistake we make. Don't compare your life with somebody else. Everybody's life, everybody's journey is unique. Stay calm, as I said a little while ago about taming the ocean. Learn to stay calm. It's on you ultimately. Self effort is entirely left to you. It's not on somebody else. It is for you to take effort and grow. That is left to you. Wear a smile. Just about, I think yesterday I was telling one of my friends in our group for singing that if at all you had smiled while singing, it would have been better. Even when I started singing, I was not easily smiling. But wear a smile always, because that is always going to make life easy for you. Keep the child in you alive. The child in you is what is making that curiosity go. And that curiosity is what is making you learn a lot of things. So keep that child in you alive, no matter how old you are. Ignorance is no problem. Ignorance is a key, because ignorance can be removed only, like for example, if I were to give you an example, there is a mirror at home. You go and find a little bit of dust. जाके उसको फूक मार दिया, साफ हो गया. थोड़ा ज्यादा डस्ट है, you take a dry cloth and wipe it. नहीं, और थोड़ा ज्यादा dirt है, you take a wet cloth and really rub it. So your mind is also exactly like that, the dust on that mirror. It is got clouded by a lot of things that you have stored, either mildly or strongly. The effort required to remove them is dependent on how strong they are. But if you remove that, your mind is a mirror. You will be able to see exactly clearly what we want to see. So just learn that ignorance is definitely there among all of us, but that ignorance is a key to learn. It is a key to unraveling life itself. Importantly, sharing. They alone live who live for others. Rest are more dead than alive. So this, Vivekananda has said this. So I'm coming to the last segment basically, which is talking about my time. My time is now. Now is my time. This you have to remember. There are 3 time zones in which we are living, always. That time zones are not GMT based. It is not coming through GMT. Those time zones are either regrets of the past or anxieties of the future. These are the time zones. And in between both of them, we have the now. We have to learn to live in the now. In the now, this is a diamond. In the now, we have to, what was this diamond? This diamond was only a chunk of coal that did well under pressure. So we have to learn from the past, work smartly now, polish to create a happy and prosperous future for ourselves. So Swamiji, Vivekananda has also said this. If you think yourself to be strong, strong you will be. Strength does not come with any of this knowledge. It is a collective thing that we generate on our own with our own self-effort. So now when we join the dots of all this, we start now, we live in the now, we empower ourselves, we choose wisely, we design smartly, polish, and that leads to a happiness for ourselves and spreading happiness around us. So these qualities and attitude that we have, that is what determines power. Power is not coming by whatever peripheral knowledge we have. Our transformation lies entirely within us. We are stronger than what we think we are. And we need to learn to live every moment fully. And because this pal, the present moment, अब का जो पल है, यही हमारा है और कुछ अपना नहीं है. इसको लेके एक लास्ट गाने के साथ मैं बंद करता हूं before I give you the questions. एक बार वक्त से लम्हा गिरा कहीं, एक बार वक्त से लम्हा गिरा कहीं, वहाँ दास्तां मिली, लम्हा कहीं नहीं. थोड़ा सा हंसा के, थोड़ा सा रुला के, पल ये भी जाने वाला है. ओ आने वाला पल जाने वाला है. हो सके तो इसमें जिंदगी बिता दो, पल जो ये जाने वाला है. ओ आने वाला पल जाने वाला है. आने वाला पल जाने वाला है. Thank you for your patience, and floor is open for questions.
So we have questions in Q&A.
Okay.
As the topic you are explaining is in Sanskrit, as a chartered accountant, our motto ye yesu suttesu jagrati means, and from which Upanishad it is from. Also, our topic is from which Upanishad?
Now, I do not know where our topic, which is basically Jnanam Paramam Balam, where it was taken from, I really don't know. But our institute's motto is coming from Mundakya Upanishad.
And then there is one more question. Next is from whether Chit and Atma are the same. Refers to 9 clause 12 of Bhagavad Gita.
Chitta is actually the purity. When you really look at it, there are two ways. The mind and intellect together. When you transcend the mind and intellect, at that stage is when you read Chit. When you read the word itself, Sat, Chit, Ananda. Ananda is what we want at all times, which is bliss. Sat is truth. So, for knowing truth, you need to travel from the mind and intellect, and then reach your Atman. And from the Atman, you reach Ananda. Ananda, which is bliss, and that is the ultimate that you all looking for.
Then next
What
is
was the relevance of the song with the topic? Can you guide? Which song is he talking about?
Sir, I think the last song he's talking
We
about.
understand that this moment that has come, this moment will also go. The past will become the present, and the present will become the future. Every moment that you are living is the now. So everything that we achieve is in the now. So just focus on the now. What happened in the past is not in your control. What is going to happen in the future, that is what is going. That will be determined by the self effort that you do. How to avoid overconfidence? See, confidence is necessary because confidence is what makes us do a lot of things. Overconfidence arises only because of your ego. The moment you start identifying with yourself, saying that, "Arey, mujhe malum hai, mera 56 inch ka chati hai," then that is when overconfidence comes in. It's important to learn from experts. That is why I brought in the example of the. Uh, that is what I brought from the example earlier. That the experts had humility. Because the experts had humility, that is why they were in a position to become what they are. Kantilal Karkar is saying the institute motto is from Kathopanishad. I read on the institute website that it is from Mundakya Upanishad. I have not read it, my dear. I have not read both the Upanishads. Probably you're right.
Yes, sir, it is from Kathopanishad.
Kathopanishad.
Yes, it is from that. So then, what is the meaning of that motto? Yash Sapteshu Jagarti.
When I explained right up in the beginning, when you are awake while asleep, how can that paradox be possible? How can you be awake when you're asleep? This is what happens. That we are all asleep to our reality. We are at the moment awake to our personality level. At our personality level, we are a different person. I'm saying I'm Suresh, chartered accountant. I'm talking blah blah blah. We are in that personality level. Correct. Now we are not alive to our deeper truth of exactly what we are. So we are asleep to that. So even though we seem to be awake, we are asleep to our own reality. But whereas the realized person, whether he is sleeping, whether he is doing anything, he is always awake to reality. Every living moment he knows that he is in reality. Because he is awake always. We are asleep to that. That is the difference. So that eagle, if you look at eagle, our institute emblem itself, I believe eagle has got two different sets of eyelids. One set of eyelids which are open, and the other one which uses it to clean the eyes of dirt, etc., etc. And the eagle can probably see from a very high distance. It can see its prey right sharp inside water also, and the speed at which it travels is so quick that it can go and pick up its prey so quickly. So it's a combination of this. fact that even though you may be, seemingly asleep, you're awake to what is happening around you and you're sharp.
They are asking, can you relate the meaning of the last song with the topic knowledge is supreme?
No, 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 no. I'm talking about time. I spoke about time last.
We
You can bring
always
it, I don't mind.
we always being happy when our team talk positive movement. They don't talk positive when then mind affected. Sometime team left with thought, I am stronger.
See, it's easy for you to get carried away when somebody is talking negative. So when somebody is talking negative, supposing किसी ने आपसे कुछ गलत बात कर दिया, the easiest thing for you to do is retort. No, immediately गुस्से में जवाब देना ये स्वाभाविक है. This is what happens. And what happens is आपका गुस्सा और उसका गुस्सा, माहौल पूरा गुस्सा हो जाता है. So the question is, you need to understand what is important at that point in time. Even as a team, when you're discussing that, there is a moment of probably disagreement or some sort of friction which is happening. Best thing is at that moment let it simmer, because if you add to that, it is only going to add more agony. And then after that, if you are in a position to say the same point which you want to convey, very what can I say, non-confrontationally, you're in a position to say that, then probably you will not increase the amount of anger which is already happening.
We remember, sir, we remember many things, but how to deliberately choose not to remember?
We remember many things. How to deliberately choose not to remember? It comes from being conscious about your mind, about your thoughts. You have to be a witness to your own thoughts. For example, you say that your friend has done something bad to you. Now you can remember that that friend has done something bad to you always, and then whenever you see that friend, you can see that on her face. She's done something bad to me. She's done something bad to me. You can remember that. The other thing is, she has done some bad to me. Let it go. That let it go if it comes to you, but you have to be watchful that she does not repeat it to you again. So you have to be watchful the second time when you meet about not being repeated, but at the same time you don't carry the negativity of having to, hey, usne aisa kiya. The more you carry that, the more it will poison your mind. The idea is that you don't want to poison your mind. So you get rid of that, let it go for that moment, and focus on ensuring that it doesn't get repeated. It comes from practice. It's on an ongoing basis. It can't happen if you do it once, I was successful once. Second time, Hare Vah, I was successful second time. Third time, Hare Vah, I think I'm becoming good at it. This is how it progresses. I'm talking all this out of my experience. This is how it has happened with me.
Any further questions? You can type on the chat box or Q&A.
You can send me an email also. I will share my email just in case it's there at the end of it. I'm sorry. So this is my email. This is my phone number. You can send me a WhatsApp chat. You can send me an email, whatever it is. And of course, this presentation will be shared with the chamber. Anybody wants, they can get a copy of this.
Sir, there is one question. My earlier question was not answered. From where to get knowledge and that to correct knowledge?
Sorry, what was the question? Just a second.
From where to get knowledge and the correct knowledge?
Where to get knowledge?
Yeah.
See, knowledge, if you're talking about what I have spoken, I said the manual is what? Bhagavad Gita. Now, not many people understand Bhagavad Gita as it is, correct? They will not be able to understand. So you need to rely on translation. Now, many cases, the translation should be in a language that you understand. Now, I'm talking to you in English. The English that I'm talking, probably you will understand, you may not understand. That is also possible. So you need to get a good translation of the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is not a religious book. Bhagavad Gita is a psychological manual for leading a happy life. Full stop, nothing else. It is a story of what happened in the Mahabharata war, where he was giving instruction to Arjuna. But those are all relevant to us. Every time you read it, you will get a different interpretation of that for your own life. So the translation that I rely upon is the translation by Swami Chinmayananda from Chinmaya Mission, which is called the Holy Gita by Swami Chinmayananda, which is available from the Chinmaya Mission's website. That is what I rely upon. So this actually is like a Bible, if you were to say so, for me, as a go-to book for any kind of situation. Anything else? Anything else? Vijay Mehta raised his hand.
Yeah, I'll unmute him.
And I'm really happy to see so many participants right up till the end. Really happy to all of you for being, patiently listening to what I have to say and sharing your questions also. One new message.
Vijay bhai, you can unmute.
Yes,
Isha Ramanan is saying,
Subramaniam
Isha
sir,
Ramanan is a friend of mine.
Teacher ma'am, I have unmuted you. Even you can speak.
yeah. Sir, my question is Gnanam Paramam Balam. So it is a quality of the Gnana to be Paramam Balam, and it's the extreme strength. What is the phala? What is the result of the Gnana?
See, the moment you understand Jnana to be result oriented, it becomes transactional, isn't it? Jnana is not for your own. Jnana is for your own realization, for you to know who you are. The phala itself is that you know who you are. Ultimately, you pursue knowledge for knowing who you are. I said the two main questions, the two most important days: the day when I'm born and the day when I know why. The day when I know why, I understood that I am born for this purpose. That is the result. And for that, you need to pursue knowledge. That is what gives you power. Then you can do anything.
I agree on that, friend, sir. But to know the phala, why it is not advisable to know the phala?
See, phala is you. I'll go back to Bhagavad Gita. It says, "Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana." Basically, you do your duty. Your duty is to pursue knowledge. Don't think that the result will come, because the moment you start thinking about the result and pursue, your anxiety for the result will make your own effort less meaningful. Put your focus on the effort to create the result. The result will happen by itself, because the result is entirely dependent on your effort.
Sir, cannot we interpret this stanza from the Bhagavad Gita
Yes, sir.
in saying that you do your duty, you don't anticipate or you don't expect the phala, that is what you are saying, because the phala is bound to happen.
Right.
Kaya Karan, there is a causa and effect relationship which always exists.
Correct.
You are entitled to only provide the cause. The
Right.
effect is not in your hand otherwise, because if whatever is how you perceive a cause, the effect is bound to happen.
Correct.
But the effort is driven by looking at the effect. That I'm not saying if I don't get the effect, there would be some difficulty in my causa. I may not have prepared well for the exam, so I failed. Maybe, yes. But that doesn't mean that I will not look at the phala, because the phala is not in my hands from this perspective. That what is in your hand is only your efforts. You see, from
So if
that
you were,
perspective, you have not to see the phala.
yes, sir. Sir, but if you were to look at Mahabharata itself, where this advice itself was given, what does he say? You are fighting a war for dharma. You are fighting a war for that which is right. That which is right? You are not supposed to think about whether you will win or not. The win or lose is in my hands. You put your effort the way it is to be done. Leave everything else to me.
That's
So that
exactly
surrender attitude at the time of effort is very important.